Hello and welcome to the Boro Breakdown Podcast, brought to you by Delano Bergzog's right foot.
Nice. DELLA, please! Yeah!
DELLA, we love you. Boro secured a huge 3 points at the Hawthorns to remain second in the championship table, from 2-0 up to 2-2, and then ending it with that 90th minute winner in front of 2,000 travelling Middlesbrough fans. And my word, they didn't half put us through it. Tom and Matt join me for this one. We will get straight into it, guys. Tom, I'm going to start with you. Before we get into our thoughts on the game and the performance itself, tell us how you were feeling after that one, because Kim Helberg said it was one of the best feelings he's had since he's been here, that 90th minute winner.
Probably not as elated as Matt sounded, to be fair. I saw his post on TikTok this morning, and I was like, no, I don't want to watch this. I want to save it till the podcast and get a more kind of natural reaction to it. I was cracking up while that was on, because I don't know if it was you just saying "DELLA, please," or
begging him.
That your voice just went up to there. I couldn't tell if it was you or Liv at times during that. But I was really, really happy after that result. I think it was a bit of a roller coaster, a bit of a ballet of emotions and feelings. Because at 2-2, I thought we'd bottled it. I did not see the game going any other way other than a West Brom third. And then I don't know if they decided to sit back. I think that's what a lot of their fans on Twitter and forums and stuff are saying this morning. I'd prefer to say it shows the character of this team, and we went for it a little bit more, trying to rescue the game after that second. It was just trying to find a way through. I think they would have been by the end quite happy to settle for that point, and finally we managed to pick the lock and get Bergzog through. Soon as I saw it was Bergzog running through, I was like, please don't try and ball roll the keeper and take him on or anything. But he, really, really good shot. I saw someone on somewhere on social media say it was up there with like the Akpom finish against Sheffield United a few years ago, and I was like, maybe not that good. Akpom did it from kind of like a standing start, but I see what you're kind of going with there. Similar area of the box and similar sort of strike. But yeah, really, really happy, and yeah, just sat there after the match. I was like, I just want to watch the interviews here, taking in all the content around this as possible. And then I just like properly came down after that. I was like, okay, I'm going to go home, read a book for an hour, go to sleep. So, and then woke up this morning and watched all the highlights again. And I probably will watch the AFL highlight show tonight as long as, well, I probably will either way, but it's going to be even nicer if results can go our way today.
Wait, you actually slept after that, Tom?
Yes.
Because I think me and Matt between us have probably had about 2 hours sleep.
No, I did. I've been knackered this week from going to the gym pretty consistently, so it's helped me get to sleep. Cure for is it insomnia? No, the other one. No, it might be insomnia. Who knows?
Yeah, insomnia. Yeah. Matt, you had a good evening, didn't you?
Honestly, I don't even have the words to describe it. I feel hungover on emotion, and I don't know if it's adrenaline or whatever it was, but that's probably got to be up there. One of the best away days I think I've ever been to. Genuinely, the roller coaster of emotions in that away end were unbelievable. From going from thinking you were cruising at 2-0 to then within 5 minutes thinking I honestly went from thinking we've not just dropped 2 points, we could lose this, because they just had so much momentum, and I thought we are up against it here, and I thought what a disaster this is going to be. And then I don't know if we, as Tom said, I don't know if they sort of naturally sat back or we just composed ourselves. We just found this level of composure from somewhere, And I was stood there in the away end, and I went from going, we're going to lose this, to then thinking, actually, we can win this. Come on, we can win this. And then, yeah, that moment is going to live with me for a long time. I mean, it wasn't like a desperate scramble, or it was a very well-crafted goal, considering the time in the game and the cauldron that the stadium was at the time, with their fans obviously really up for it. To craft that moment and then finish it, it was such a unbelievable quality moment from us. And to say the away end went absolutely nuts was an understatement. As Tom said, my voice went to levels and decibels I didn't know it still could. There were limbs. There was someone behind me who was on top of me at one point. It was absolutely balmy. And the first thing I thought when I came out of the ground, and I saw Dom Shaw post this on Twitter, I thought it was a very, very good point. It reminded me, and weirdly, what topped it off was we stayed back and met all the players after the game. We stayed back and got pictures and met Kim, and we actually bumped into Neil Bowser and Chris Jones, and they stopped to chat with us. They were really nice, to be fair. And Neil Bowser actually said that was like the Jordan Rhodes moment against Bolton. And I was like, yeah, it felt like that moment, a moment that a promotion team has that you look back on and think, wow, what a difference that could make at the end of the season. Them 2 points could be huge. So, yeah, overall, one of the best nights I've had in a long time. And I don't have the words to describe it. It's why you pay your money. It's why you travel the miles. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, echo that completely. I'm still on cloud nine, and again, I'm sat awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, eyes wide open, brain on overdrive, just thinking and
3:30 I got
pondering.
To sleep. I think I got to bed anyway, 3:30.
Yeah, it's God. I feel that so often after Boro games, when there's just, because there was a lot of event in that game. Obviously, 5 goals, the late winner, lots to process, lots to think about, and yeah, just find myself wide awake, dreaming and thinking, processing all that lovely stuff. And those moments, that Bergsorg goal, it's exactly what football is all about. And you know what? I don't know if everyone has heard after the Southampton game, a Boro fan called Steve phoned up BBC Radio Tees and was talking about how important Boro are to him. He was very candid, very open, very honest, talking about his struggles over the festive period. And he was saying how much Boro positively impact him and can pick him up and lift his mood and lift his spirits. And I really felt for Steve in that moment. I really related to him, because I think I feel football really deeply. I think we all do. We all love this football club, and some people feel different depths about footballs. For some people it's their weekend. For some people it's their lives. And for me, for Steve, I think it's our lives. And I thought about Steve after that goal, because I think he epitomises just how much football means to people and how much those moments can have a huge, huge impact to your day, to your weekend, to your life. And yeah, that was one of those that you'll at the best, and I hope that this happens, we can look back at this as a really pivotal moment in a promotion season, but at the very least we can look back with fondness that we enjoyed that when it happened. We're on cloud nine when it went in, and we can look back with that fondness, with that good happy memory that we've stored in our brains. And yeah, I won't forget that. It was God, scenes in the Malt House, scenes in the away end, just brilliant, just a wonderful, wonderful moment. And yeah, it could be huge in Boro's season, especially because we've got Ipswich breathing down our necks. They've got a game in hand because of that game against Portsmouth that was postponed. They play, as we record, in an hour's time against, is it Blackburn? So yeah, we've got to make sure that we keep these points being accumulated and added to our tally. And from the, I don't know, not the pits of despair, but feeling like we had bottled it, to that elation, it's priceless. In terms of the performance then, you two, what did we make of it as a whole?
I thought it was a very I don't want to say it was a poor performance first half, because I thought they set up really, they were really difficult to break down. I wasn't surprised by how they set up, because hearing a little bit about Eric Ramsey's was it Minnesota team, was it he managed in the MLS? I heard how like their average possession numbers were extremely low, and they were massive on set pieces and long throw-ins. And I thought, all right, that we might see a little bit of that, but I was very surprised by how deep West Brom was sat. It was almost like they were already a goal up in the game and they were sitting on a 1-goal lead, or they were at the away side. I was really surprised by how they set up, and from minute one, it was like they were sat asking Boro to break them down. And I thought, oh God, here we go up against a low block. It's going to be one of them, really, it's going to be an evening where patience is going to be massive. But they posed a really good threat on the break. They countered us really quickly, and they were really dangerous on transition. And I thought, despite having so little of the ball, I felt like they looked like they were going to score every time they broke forward. And they had some really big chances. I thought first 10 minutes, and I think Hellberg alluded to it, they were really threatening. And I was just praying we got through that initial spell, because I thought the worst possible thing to happen when there's a team set up like this is that we go a goal down, because it seemed like a tough enough task to break them down at 0-0. And I do think they probably edged it in terms of chances first half, but I still thought we got a grip of the game and dominated once they had that initial spell. They still had moments in the game where they had chances, but it was just then a question of, could Boro get through, and could we get that elusive first goal, which has proved to be huge in Boro games. Again, I saw another stat, and again, I'm going to credit Dom Shaw for this because he posted another cracker on Twitter. I think it was we've not dropped a point from a winning position this season. And yet last season, was it 25 points we dropped from winning positions last season or something? Which is a bananas stat. So I thought, get the first goal. I mean, it came through a huge degree of fortune, let's be honest. I mean, from the away end, you'll probably tell on the TV, the celebrations were so delayed because we didn't have a clue what happened. We saw the shot sort of hit the post, and then it looked like it hit a West Brom player, but then it went towards the goal and hit the post again. Then did cross the line. I had no idea. And someone clocked it went in, and then the celebration started. But that was a huge opening goal. And then second half, I thought it would benefit us because the game would open up. But I actually thought they gave us just as much as what they got. And fair play to them for getting back into the game. Obviously 2-0 up. I thought we're in a great position here. Silvera's finish was outstanding. I didn't see that coming. I was right behind it. It was a fantastic finish from him. But then, as I say, to see them come back like they did, and it really was a cauldron in that stadium. You could feel it from all sides. I mean, the West Brom fans were completely silent until then, I'm not going to lie. But after they got back into it...
Well, the Boro fans taunting the silence on the telly.
Yeah, it was like 77 minutes. They finally sort of turned up. But when they did, it was such a difficult atmosphere for the team. And I honestly thought, obviously, I think Price had a shot that just whistled wide, and Bryn had to make another save from Hegerberg. I can't remember if that was at 2-0 or 2-1. And I just thought, we have not only fluffed this, but we could lose it. And I was getting sort of PTSD to the Boro sides of last season and the season before that would throw away leads and chuck away results. And I thought, please don't do it. We're better than this. We've been better than this. We can manage it. And then to sort of, as I say, compose yourself and level yourself and go and win the game was an incredible piece of character from the team. And we've heard a lot this season about the team's character and the players' character and what they're like, the togetherness. And I think we really saw it at the end there, how they came together to win that game. So, yeah, it was a really good game of football, first and foremost. Two really different teams, really going at it. So to come out on the other side of it is, so sweet. So it was, was it the best performance? Was it? I don't know, really. It's hard because obviously the result takes a lot of the you're thinking after that game, but either way, we came out on the right side of it, and that could be absolutely huge.
Yeah, it's interesting that because when I've been looking through message boards, Twitter, TikTok this morning, there were a couple of TikToks where West Brom fans were saying "Oh, Boro by far the best team we played at the Hawthorns this season." I'm like, "Were we?" Because that was most of the comments were like that was one of our worst performances, especially under Hellberg. So the fact that you're saying that is great because it's just another thing of we can play like that but still get results, and that is what you need to be up that top end of the table fighting for the automatics. When we went up the last time, any other clubs who've gone up in recent years, they will have had those bad weeks, but they still find a way to win, and we did that yesterday. I did think with the first 15 minutes or so, where they were putting us under a bit of pressure, I was like, look, this is some like new manager bounce for them. And then we started to get a hold of the game, and it was one-way traffic pretty much for the rest of that first half. The initial goal, I mean, Matt, your celebrations were delayed. It was delayed with me and my uncle watching it on the telly as well, because we couldn't quite figure out what had gone on. You know, Gilbert had that shot. We were all thinking that's going to creep in, but rebounds off the post. But there was enough time for Charlie Taylor to kind of react and swing a leg at that, and the fact that it still ended up in the back of the net. The commentators thought it had gone off Whittaker. I thought it had gone off Whittaker, and then you look at the replay, and it was like, what is he doing there? Like, he's just got his body position all wrong. I can see he's trying to clear it behind for a corner, but that's just gone horribly wrong for him, and he had probably a little bit more time than he thought to react to that. I think if he'd have just left it, Hackney was getting it anyway. So, yeah, it's a good first goal, and Silvera, on quite a streak at the moment, and great to see him full of confidence at the moment with, the goal against Southampton turned into prime Messi to assist the goal against Fulham, and then the goal last night as well. We've seen him score the goal last night plenty of times, so it's nice to see that's coming back, and he's kind of getting the confidence to take those shots on again. I feel like Silvera is possibly one of those players, a little bit like Whittaker, where when he's confident and when he starts getting those chances, they're going to go in probably more times than not. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a couple more over the next couple of weeks. Touch wood, because I don't want to jinx him.
He'll get injured now.
But yeah, probably. West Brom get their 2 goals back, and I'm just thinking, this is it. I think, as I said earlier, I thought at that point, this is only going one way, and it's going to be a West Brom win. And then from that point on, for the game to pretty much be flipped in terms of momentum again, and we're trying to find our way through, and then to win it at the death like that. Matt, you're saying about Neil Bowser saying that was like a Jordan Rhodes moment. That hasn't really hit me up until now. I think the elation of the Jordan Rhodes moment, I think it was a little bit more because it was, 5 games from the end of the season or something, and it was such a vital point at that time. Being mid-January, I didn't quite get the same feeling at that point, but I can definitely see why he would be saying that. And yeah, it's kind of creeping in a little bit more now, the thought that it might be that sort of moment. Hopefully we can keep that going through the rest of the season. But like I say, overall, good performance. Wasn't our best, but if you can play like that and still get a 3-2 result against a good West Brom team who will probably finish higher than where they're in at the table at the moment, that it's a great result for us. And we were talking on the last podcast about the upcoming 6 games, how many points we thought we were going to get from it. That's 3 already. So, hopefully we can go on and get a fair few more than what we were maybe predicting on average last week.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't that impressed with Boro's performance. But then we were 2-0 up at a point, so I kind of thought, oh, well, I guess this is fine. We'll take it. But I just thought that throughout the game, particularly in the first half, that connectivity between our play, the combinations, just the really simple 5-yard passes were going astray. They were going wide of their target. And I just felt like there was a degree of complacency in our game. I think you saw that with when Alan Brown took a throw in, and then Luke Ayling let it cut across him, and then he just gets the ball stolen from him from Hegebo, and then Solbrin has to make the save. I think that was probably case in point of Boro's complacency in that match. I think we just looked a little bit loose, and I thought in terms of creating chances as well, they made it difficult for us. And Matt, you're exactly right with their setup. As soon as I caught wind that it was 5 at the back and that they had Mikey Johnson as one of the wing backs, Ayling Jr. is the other one, I thought, okay, so I know largely how their game plans are going to go. It's going to be low block, just sit deep, and try to spring us on the counter-attack. And they did that. They did that in the first half. They didn't press high, and Chris said that in the opposition preview show, looking into Eric Ramsey's side at Minnesota. They weren't really interested in pressing oppositions high, but they chose their moments. They were very smart with it, and credit to them for that. It was on a heavy touch, or when there was indecision on the ball, they would spring. And they've got Carlin Grant, they've got Hegebo, they've got Mikey Johnson, they've got Elling Jr. I think they've got a decent amount of pace in that front line, so they look dangerous. And I thought you saw Boro at times scale back, try to recover the yards, because on that turnover we just got caught out with that quick transition from West Brom picking the ball up and pressing us, and then trying to attack us. It made it quite difficult for Boro. And then in terms of us in possession, I thought we were quite sloppy. As I said, passes, very simple passes going astray, and us losing the ball because of it. I think there was a moment where Aidan Morris just put the ball out of play for a throw-in, and it was supposed to go to Hayden Hackney. He was about 3 yards away from him, and that's probably another example of Boro's sloppiness in that game. But also, I thought we were horseshoeing it too much. It was too many times sideways rather than playing forward and playing, trying to break through. And it made it quite a slow, tight game. You saw at times like our backline pushed up, and Malander and Ayling were well advanced into the West Brom half because they were just allowing us the ball. And it was very smart, it was very considered, it was very intentful. And I just thought that we didn't do enough to really try to disrupt that low block, or mid to low block, and it made for a very difficult watch as far as the Boro fans concerned, because I just don't think we were testing them enough. We didn't make them uncomfortable, whereas on the other hand, I think they made us uncomfortable. But credit to Boro, because the moment of quality in the end came right at the end from Bergzorg, from Silvera, from Hackney, from Morris. That's what I wanted to see in that game, that quick zip, pick up a pocket of space, first touch ball into Silvera, then Bergzorg pulls off the defender into space, and I love that finish where he cuts it across the goalkeeper and it goes in the opposing corner of the net. Love it. Just flashes beyond Josh Griffiths before he can really say anything or do anything to stop it. So that's what I wanted to see from Boro, but that's what we didn't see throughout the majority of that game. Just that quick, incisive play, quickening the tempo. I will say, though, in fairness, in the own goal, little injection of drive from Hayden Hackney, bringing the ball forward. That's what I wanted to see, and I just don't think we saw that enough. The goal it was an own goal. It was a shot outside the box, and then it was a genuinely good piece of play for the third goal. But I don't know, they troubled us, West Brom, I think, in regards to their shape. But credit to Boro, because they found ways to, they found a big bout of quality at the end to win the game. But still, I think there's probably areas of that match I just don't want to see in following games. I just want to see Boro maybe be a bit more incisive, be a bit more potent. And this is funny because we, in the last league game, we beat Southampton 4-0. So, yeah, beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. Sammy Silvera put Boro 2-0 up in the second half after that own goal from Charlie Taylor in the first. What have you made of Sammy Silvera of late? Enjoying a little bit of a redemption arc?
Yeah, I'm delighted for him because I think he's always been a player who's always put all of his effort in. He's always tried hard. He's always done his best for the team. I think even when things haven't came off for him, he's always been a trier and he's gave the team everything. I think it's always been a question of just his quality, really, at the end of it. You know, when he was playing out wide, his final pass, his cross, his shot, I think that's the only thing that you can say is maybe not of the level that we need it to be. But I think, as Tom said, you know, we saw the same with Whittaker in a sense. And then when one went in, they sort of started to flow, and maybe there is similarities there. And it's been a very interesting season for Sammy Silvera because he was thrust into an unfamiliar position under Rob Edwards, you could say. I thought did pretty well, did as well as anyone probably would do if they were sort of took from a position as a winger and dropped into a wing back position. Did really well there, did good for us when we needed him to. And then when Hellberg came in, I did start to wonder. He didn't really get a game for a while, and I thought, is this a sign that he doesn't really fancy him? You know, he tried everyone else in them sort of three behind the striker. We saw Hansen, we saw Nipan, we saw a number of players tried there, none of which really took their chance. And with January coming, I thought maybe he just doesn't see anything in Silvera. And then out of the blue, he's given a chance on that right-hand side in his sort of more natural position. And the last couple of games, he's been really, really good. His assist against Fulham was really good play. 2 nutmegs, I think it was, and a good cut back. And then his finish last night, I don't know if it reminds me of, I'm trying to think back to one that he scored in the Cup back in 2024. I don't know if it was against Exeter or Port Vale. I remember him scoring another really good finish. I don't think it was quite similar, but he does have that in his locker. So credit to him for, I think, maybe on 2 separate occasions this season, being out the team, and you start to wonder, is he going to be an option? Once we get fully fit players back, is he going to be nothing but a squad player? Is he even going to be at the club? And then when he's got his chance, he's took it both times, and now he's in that front 3 goals and assists. Is it 3 goals and assists, 3 goal contributions in the last 2 games? Credit to him. He's now made himself a part of that front 3 that you say you can't drop him at the moment. So, yeah, he's in the squad. He's in form. He's a big part of that attack, and I hope he can keep it going, because I love his attitude. I love his endeavour. I love his effort. He always comes across as a really nice guy. So, yeah, I'm all for the Sammy Silvera redemption arc. I hope he can keep it up for as long as possible. It was a fantastic finish last night. It really was.
Yeah, it was. It was a really good goal from Sammy Silvera. So good to see that. And not him cutting inside, having a shot and ballooning it into Rosette, which I'm not going to lie, that's what we've seen of Sammy Silvera a lot. But brilliant finish yesterday. And I think, doesn't it just show that players that were once deemed not good enough, and I still think to a degree Sammy Silvera isn't. And I will credit him. I think he's definitely shown that he can make an impact. And yeah, doesn't it show that players that are squad players can come in and make a positive impact on this team, like Bergsorg as well. Bergsorg, the hero of the night yesterday. How many times have we all pulled our hair out about Bergsorg? Takes too long on the ball, takes too many touches, makes the wrong decision. But he made the right decision yesterday. Like Gilbert as well. Gilbert was the player that had the shot that hit the post that led to the own goal. Players like this, they can make a difference. Periphery players, shall we say. Players that were once maybe looked at and we all thought, yeah, they won't last the season here. They won't last the rest of the month here. They'll be off. They'll be out the door. And maybe they still could be. Like Bergsorg's very heavily linked with Bristol City. It seems for all the world as if he's on his way out with Boro. But these players can make a difference, and it speaks to a really good environment and a really good playing style as well. That if you lean more technically, I think you can, Kim Helberg could get a tune out of you. He did it at Hammarby, where he brought players out from the cold or back from the cold and made them into really important first team players. So credit to Sammy Silvera, because he has to take that opportunity. He said it after the game yesterday on BBC Tees that he's not kicked up a fuss or anything. He hasn't gone on TikTok comments and hashtag free Sammy. Like, he's just got on with it. And massive credit to him as well, because he's become a bit of a utility player. He's played right back, right wing back, left wing back, left wing, right wing. Like, he's played in a host of positions that a lot of them I don't think are comfortable for him, but he's done his job without much fuss. And yeah, massive credit. I've not been the biggest fan of Sammy Silvera. I think I've made that abundantly clear on this podcast, but it's good to see. I think it's 4 goal contributions in his last 3 games, a goal and assist yesterday. The assist against Fulham, very good player. Again, the double nutmeg, insane violation on the Fulham players. And then the goal against Southampton. So, yeah, well done to Sammy Silvera.
I just want to claim a little bit of credit for myself for a few years ago, because when we first signed Silvera and we were trying to figure out, like, on pretty much the first 10 podcasts of that season, how this system's supposed to work and why have we signed Silvera, because he keeps cutting in from the left, knitting Rosette. I did say at that point we should move him over to the right. So that's where most of his strengths would be. But in all seriousness, though, I do think that this is something that's maybe been worked on throughout the season, and I don't know who to credit for it, whether that is Helberg, whether it's Vivash, because he's been the only kind of like consistent on the coaching staff throughout the season. Maybe Edwards and Watling might have had a little bit to do with things as well. But you look at Sammy Silvera, he's came in, started left wing back. I do think that this season he simplified his game a little bit, and I will say even more so since Hellberg's come in and he's been playing on the right and he's been playing a little bit further forward. He hasn't been trying to, dribble too much and try and cut inside and launch that shot that we saw so often from him. That the South Stand saw a lot closer when it hit them. He hasn't been doing that as much, and I think Silvera, along with quite a few other players, is playing more to his strengths now than we've seen in the last couple of seasons. He is good at the dribbling and close control in parts. We saw that against Fulham. We see his confidence growing now, and he can hit those shots. I think in terms of the creativity, just the short passing like he was doing for the build up to the goal yesterday, all that sort of simplifying it. I think Bergzorg simplified his game a little bit. For me, he doesn't seem as kind of like Bambi on ice at times when he's dribbling with the ball and trying to take people on. He's coming off the bench. He's really making an impact when he's doing that, but he's using his strength more. Last night, whereas he previously might have been in two minds about hitting that ball, he just goes ahead, hits it on instinct, and it goes on the other side of the net. Alex Gilbert hitting those shots that we know he has in him. He's doing that a little bit more, arriving late in the box. So it's a bit of an interesting theme this season. I think if you look at it from the start of the season up until now, we probably will see gradual improvements in all players, and Sammy Silvera is probably one that stands out in that respect.
Yeah, Matt, I just want to ask you a question that Danny Beardmore asked us about Sammy Silvera. He said, have we found Sammy's best position? I know we can upgrade long term, but it's nice to see him contributing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I do. I think, and although I think at times he struggled defensively, other times he did commendably well given who he was up against. I think definitely having someone in behind him who can be that more sort of, can back him up and be that more defensive role helps. It allows him to maybe just be more free, express himself, and just focus on what he wants to do going forward. And absolutely on that right hand side, I think we all got a little bit tired of seeing inverted wingers cutting in, getting shots blocked or shots just taken off and leaving the stadium. And I think Silvera became quite predictable in that. Because you knew exactly what he was going to do. Even when he played at left back for us, I think when Tom talks about them simplifying their game, I think it's quite interesting that I don't think since Hellberg's come in we've seen Silvera play at left back once. I think it might have been right back, but I think he very much wants a left back on the left hand side, or a left footer on the left and a right footer on the right. I think that's the balance he likes, and that's the balance I like as well. And I certainly think it helps Silvera because he can drop a shoulder. He is one of the few players in that team who I think has a degree of 1v1 ability, who can get by his man. And if he can get to the byline and cut the ball back, I think he can be really effective rather than swinging in crosses from the touchline, because half the time they clear the box, clear the goal, clear the ground. So I think playing to his strength in that respect, down the right-hand side, beating his man, cutting the ball back, or even getting a shot off like he did last night, absolutely suits him. And we can upgrade in that position, and part of me hopes we do. But in terms of his strengths, it absolutely caters to him being there. And I think it just, once again, just show how impressive Kim Hellberg has been since he came in. We saw it from the get-go. He came in instantly, played a system he didn't recognise because he took one look at Boro's squad, clearly did his research, looked at all the players individually, their strengths, their weaknesses, put them in a system that caters them. We're not trying to shoehorn 11 players into a system that he is, wholeheartedly focused on playing, and that's it. It's his we all know where he's took a look at this squad, he's took a look at the players and thought, how do I get the best out of these individually, but then also as a collective? And we're seeing that across the board, and we're seeing it with Sammy Silvera. So credit to Kim Hellberg and the coaching team for that, but credit for Silvera for actually taking the opportunity as well. So will he stay there? I don't know. We'll see who we bring in that position, but for as long as he's playing like he is, I'm happy for him to stay on that right-hand side and keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I think Danny summed up basically what I thought about Sammy Silvera, that it's good to see him contributing. He said, I know we can upgrade long term, but it's nice to see him contributing. And I think I echo that completely. He was impressive yesterday. I think he was a lot of people's man of the match. I just want to mention, because we're going to talk about who impresses in this game. It was one of those games that I don't think anyone necessarily stood out. It was the subtleties, I think, of the performances. I want to really credit Hayden Hackney, because I've watched the goals back just now, and it's his drive forward in the build up to the first goal. It's then his drive forward in the build up to the second goal, and then he obviously plays a part in the third goal. I honestly think Hayden Hackney's fantastic. I cannot believe, and I hate to mention this because I wish I didn't have to, but I can't believe some Boro fans don't rate him. I really don't. I don't understand it. I think that's a litmus test for, I hate to say I'll probably get shit for this later on, but whether you enjoy football or not. Because if you don't rate Hayden Hackney, I just think that you don't enjoy football. I think he's fantastic. Like, it's his drive forward that makes the West Brom backline, who were very compact and they were blocking out space, but he makes them retreat. He's such a good ball carrier. He makes good decisions on the ball. And he's so forward thinking. He's a crucial part of this Middlesbrough team. Him playing a part in all 3 goals is no surprise to me. He's delightful to watch, and there's no real noise around him this month, which is a good thing, but I'm a bit unnerved because I feel like that'll probably come later on in the month. But I just love him. I honestly just absolutely love him, and I think I want to mention that because I was talking about how too often in that game I don't think we played forward, and I still maintain that opinion. I think for too long it was shoehorning side to side. You know, you go from one wing to the other, you don't go through them. But Hayden Hackney is the type of player that can unlock the door through his driving runs forward. So I want to mention that. For you two, who impressed against West Brom, Tom, do you want to give your opinion?
You know what? I think it's pretty much the same as against Fulham for me. It's Malanda, Morris, Hackney, and Ayling.
Yeah, Morris was good as well. Yeah,
I was thinking about who impressed me, and I'm thinking about who played up front. Conway and Whittaker. I only really noticed Conway when he was tracking back. Whittaker, I forgot, was playing at times because he was just getting crowded out. And then in defence, we were trying to switch it to the left quite a bit. And I don't know, late in the match, Target looked like he was pulling a bus, like in terms of how knackered he must have been. Like he played okay. But I was thinking last 20 minutes, I was like, get Munro on or something just to get that little bit more energy going down that left-hand side. So it was kind of, it did narrow it down for me a little bit in those choices, but I just, when you watch him, like, Malanda is so good, and how we've ended up with him in the Championship is beyond me because, you know, there was a rumour going around in, like, I think it was on One Borough in, like, November and December that we'd apparently accepted a bid for him before he'd even kicked a ball for us and he was going to the Premier League. And, you know, if that had actually happened and I was watching him playing like that, well, yeah, I could understand that because he is absolutely quality and he's a joy to watch in defence. So as soon as we can get Jones and Britton back in that defensive line, I think we are going to be very, very strong at the back. Even if we can get Dale Fry back for a little bit to partner him as well. Not that Ayling deserves dropping because he's also been fantastic. And then, yeah, Morrison and Hackney, you know, they say all the time those two are the best centre midfield pairing in the Championship, and they just prove it fairly consistently now. And it's just, for me, it puts a lot more on the line on going up this season, knowing that Hackney's going to be going into his last year of his contract, because it's like it's all or nothing. I think if we don't go up, he's going to be going to the Premier League, and it just puts even more pressure on us to go up. But, you know, if we get promoted, I fully expect the next day it's like Hackney's just signed 5-year contract extension because he loves the club. He wants to be here. And if he can help get his hometown club to the Premier League, I don't think he's leaving for a long time. Like that would be like an absolute dream come true for him. So for him and for all of us, I really hope we can do that this season.
Yeah, agreed. Matt, who impressed you against West Brom?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the same sort of trio. I think Hackney and Morris were, I think, back to their best at times. I think on their day, yeah, obviously they'll have dips in form. One will be in form, the other will be out of form, and vice versa, and injuries and all that. But I think they are getting back to their absolute best. I agree. Hackney played such a big role in breaking the lines and actually getting beyond their midfield, their defence. Played a huge part in everything we did that was positive last night. I think I don't know if it was the second goal, he drove forward and it was like a really good interchange. I don't know who it was. He had like a little 1-2 with, I don't know if it was Whittaker. But the tight control and the quick passing, it was instrumental in breaking us out of that sort of little midfield hole that we were in with West Brom. And I think that might have been when we broke away and Silvera went and scored. But he is just, absolute top championship player, one of the best, if not the best midfielder in this league. And we are so lucky to still have him at the club. Thank God he turned down Ipswich. Imagine if they had him in their ranks this season. I mean, my God, that is like a sliding doors what if moment, isn't it? If there ever was one. So yeah, him and Morris were great. Morris was back to his best last night. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And I mean, it's Malanda mania again, isn't it? I mean, that bloke, I don't think I've seen him sprint. He might have sprinted once in his first game to recover a ball in the corner. He just doesn't break a sweat. It's almost like he just knows where to be all the time. So he doesn't have to really exert all that much energy. It just looks so easy for him. There was one moment in the game where the ball was coming over his head and he was running towards his own goal and he played like a 180 pass first time into the midfield. And I was like...
That was quality, that.
I thought, like, the composure to do that under that much pressure, but he clearly has the spatial awareness to know exactly where their attacking players are, where the Boro players are, and the calmness to just play that sort of 180 ball behind him into midfield. I just thought, my God, stop it. Like, there's every chance we might see another Morgan Rogers. Like, a Premier League club might come in for him in the summer if we don't go up. He's that good. But if we do go up, I've got no worries about having a centre back there who I think is perfect for what you'd want in the Premier League. He's quick, he's physical, he's great on the ball. I think he would be absolutely fine. It's one less position to worry about if we did go up, because I think Malanda is already there. He's ready. So yeah, them three were awesome. And I also want to give Sol Brynn a bit of credit as well, because I thought he made some big saves last night. Well, big saves. I think he made a good save from Hegerberg second half, and obviously he made himself big, come out and made a big save for Hegerberg in the first 4 minutes after Aaron was caught on the ball. I mean, if that goes in, God knows how much tougher that game could have been. So I think Brynn deserves a bit of credit for a big save in a big moment early on.
Yeah, there was one from Callan Grant where it was kind of awkward for Brynn because his body weight was going the opposite direction to where the ball was, and so he had to readjust really quickly. And I think I've seen goals like that before where the striker or the player tries to catch out the goalkeeper at his front post and tries to divert it on the other side, and he does well. I thought it might squirm underneath him, but it just doesn't. There was a few hairy moments where they were putting the ball right on top of him from corners, and he flapped at one of them, and Don Goodman was saying, why do goalkeepers do this nowadays? Just punch it, be stronger, or just catch it, be stronger. And then he was stronger in the next one. Don Goodman was having a good old whinge about Boro. I like Don Goodman, and I shouldn't because he's ex-Sunderland, but I like him. He just had a good old whinge about the Boro yesterday. So
But he was fuming after that goal winning.
I know, yeah, just seething. There's just spit coming out of his mouth. I want to credit and praise Bergzorg, actually. We'll go back on him, the hero of the night, because so often we curse the sky with Bergzorg about how indecisive he is, but he made a really quick decision. I am surprised that he didn't ball roll it, to be honest. Ball roll Bergzorg is what we've known from him. But credit to him, because he was really quick to make that decision, and it was a great strike across the keeper and just brilliant scenes. How many times have you guys watched that goal? Because I feel like it has been on repeat since Sky Sports put it on Twitter, really, and I was able to watch it back. How many times have you guys watched it?
I'm still only in single figures at the moment, I think.
Oh, come on, Tom. Step up.
I'm sure I'll watch it more throughout the day, but yeah, I think I'm probably only up to about 7 or 8.
Poor.
How many does it count though if you're watching it back in your head? Does that add to the, because if you can accumulate how many times it's ran back through your mind and you've watched it in your head, I'm probably in the thousands, to be honest. I couldn't wait
I'll
to
probably
watch
stick
it
your
back for the
video
commentary.
on, Matt.
Yeah.
Della, please. Della, I love you.
Well, you know, it honestly, it shows that if you're polite, and my mother raised me to be polite, if you ask kindly, good things come to you. And I asked politely. If I hadn't have said please, you know, he might have ball rolled it. And then, you know, that's what you get for bad manners.
He heard you.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He did.
But no, yeah, I've watched it so many times, and it'll continue to go round and round in my head. We were trying to, because they had TVs in the concourse, and we were trying to watch the goals back on Sky, and we saw the opening 2 goals, the West Brom equalisers, and then the stewards were like, "Right, we need you to leave the ground now," and we were like hanging on to try and catch it on the TVs as we were leaving, and we missed it. So I don't think I got to actually watch it properly with the commentary until I was in a McDonald's at like 2 a.m. somewhere in the West Midlands or wherever we were. But yeah, I think Bergzog's one of them players where if he just maybe acted on instinct a little bit more,
Yeah.
I think his numbers would probably be a lot better. He just needs to yeah, like when he went through against QPR. I know we were 3-1 up, and who cares? We won the game. But if he just puts it down the side of the goalkeeper, he probably scores, and it's 4-1, and you know he can celebrate and be another hero of the day. But then he ball rolls it, and even though we won the game 3-1, you're still pulling your hair out to a degree because you're like, why has he done that? So yeah, maybe he's just another player who needs to just act on instinct a bit more. And well, we're saying that who knows, he might not be here much longer. I kind of hope he is now. I don't want him to go after that, but yeah, we'll see. If not, what a parting gift from Bergzog if he is to leave.
Yeah, I was going to say that, a parting gift. He's somebody that if you give him time, he's probably going to choose the wrong decision or make the wrong decision. But thankfully, he didn't really have a lot of time yesterday, and he made a great run, just pulling off the defender into space and striking it past the goalkeeper. Matt, you mentioned it earlier about Dom Shaw's tweet. He tweeted Forshaw, Rhodes, Bergzog. I'm going to add David Nugent to the mix there. Basically, just big moments in Boro season. Do you think that was one of those moments?
Well, I think looking at the discourse after the game, I think people are starting to look at this season and think, is it just, I know, fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it, is there such thing? Probably not, but you see it all the time, don't you? You see it in promotion seasons. You see teams just edge games, have these moments. We saw it firsthand 10 years ago. It happened numerous times that season. And yeah, I take Tom's point. We're still quite far out, and there's a long way to go. And we need to obviously remain grounded, of course. But I don't know if we're that team. We always normally talk about every season, because we've always been in the, outside the top 10 or whatever. We've always spoke of a team who, they'll fall off. They won't stay up there. I think Sunderland were that side last season. And I mean, obviously they did fall off because I think the top 3 were just of a stupid standard, but they still got up in the end because
I'm still waiting for Bournemouth to fall off.
Yeah, well, yeah, aren't we all? Aren't we all? And I think we were sort of, as much as I don't want to refer to them, it was the same in the playoff final, wasn't it? You think, this is it, they're going to try, and then they find a way. And we said pre-season, didn't we? Or was it last season? We want to be like Sunderland. We're not going to be up there with the parachute clubs, but if we can hang on in there, give ourselves the best chance, maybe we can emulate what they did. And maybe we're on that path. Maybe we're on a path even better to top 2. I don't know, but it just feel like, and I feel like every time I've reviewed Boro month to month, I've thought, let's see if I think I said it after 10 games. Let's see if we're still there after 15. Let's see if we're still there after 20. Let's see if we're still there at the end of December. And now I'm saying that about January, and every time we're still there. So maybe it is just going to be one of them seasons where whether it's us being good or the rest of the league being rubbish or Ipswich tripping over themselves or whatever, maybe we will just get there. And as long as we give ourselves a chance, hang on in there till the very end, it's anyone's game then. So I really hope so. I really, really hope so. That moment last night could catapult us into a great run of form in a tough run of games. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Tom, I know we won in the end, so it doesn't really matter. But were you still disappointed at the time to see Boro let that 2-goal lead slip?
I'm still disappointed now about it, to be honest. I've said quite a few times over the years on this podcast, I am definitely one of the people who would prefer a 2-0, 3-0 win over a 3-2 win in exciting circumstances like last night. I'd rather it was kind of like more of a routine win. And I forgot to say this earlier when we were all waxing lyrical about Malanda, but the header off the corner where it bounced down, be right in front of the away end as well. I was just fully expecting the roof of the net ripple there. I thought he'd done it, and the fact that it went over, I was like, I hope that's not like a sliding doors moment in the game, because when we went 2-0 up, me and my uncle were saying, like, they have to come on to us now if they want to get anything, and it's the type of game state that we can exploit and go on and get a couple more. And then it ends up 2-2, and we're like, right, shows how much we know, because that wasn't supposed to happen. So yeah, great to win it in exciting circumstances, but I'd really rather we weren't conceding at all. If we can just win every game 4-0 from now on, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, we're not asking for much. I mean, God, this club puts us through the ringer, doesn't it? I mean, the title of this episode is Boing Boing Boro, because we were up and then we were down and then we were up again, and thankfully we ended the game on a high. We will move on now, before we end the podcast, to podcast questions. Podcast questions it is then, and you know where to find us. We're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, email, Facebook, Blue Sky, and all of that fun stuff. The first question is from AEB Boro. They ask, do you have confidence in Bryn as a number one? Matt, your thoughts on that? Do you have confidence in Sol Bryn? In fact, I'll get both of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I do have confidence in Sol Bryn. I've got no reason not to. Is there areas that he can improve? Absolutely. I think shop stopping at times this season, he's maybe let himself down a few times. I can't think of exact incidences in my head, but I know there's been 2 or 3 times this season where I've thought, he could have done better there. But there are areas of his game where I think he's surprised me. His distribution has been fantastic. I think back to that goal he set up for Morgan Whittaker. Again, the game escapes me, but it was a fantastic ball. I've seen that a few times this season where his distribution's been really good, and it almost came off a couple of times. I agree. I think at times he's really good at claiming and catching the ball from crosses. There was one that was right on top of him, right in front of the away end last night, that he clawed out of the air. I think that's a real strength of his game as well. I mean, is he perfect? No, we need to remember he's still a relatively young goalkeeper. He was thrust into the first team last season, his first real consistent championship minutes, and just when he was getting going, got an injury. So he's still sort of in the infancy of his career as a championship goalkeeper, I would say. And to be in a team who's doing so well, you've got to give him credit. So is there better goalkeepers out there? Of course there is, but there's absolutely worse goalkeepers as well, and there's areas he can improve. But I think so far I've seen enough to be confident that if he keeps improving, he will be a good goalkeeper for us. I mean, the one question I do find myself asking is, if we did get promoted, that's when maybe you have to say, okay, we need a Premier League goalkeeper. And we might see what's happened at Sunderland again. Patterson's dropped down, I think, from an absolute, dead set in their team to being a more of a squad player and a backup goalkeeper. That might be when he maybe drops out of the 11. But as a championship goalkeeper, yeah, I've got enough confidence in him for him to keep being our number one. Absolutely. We've had worse. My word, have we had worse in the last few years? Good grief, we've had some terrible keepers.
You said there was worse goalkeepers out there, don't we, Noah? Can you imagine where we would be this season if we had Joe Lumley? 16th is where we'd probably be.
Bettinelli.
Yeah, I forgot about Bettinelli as well.
Archer, Luke Daniels.
Yeah.
I've had some bad ones.
To think we went to Old Trafford and beat them with Joe Lumley in goal, it just really shows how bad Man United really are. But I think in terms of Sol Bryn, as Matt said, got no reason not to be confident. He's shown, for me, more than keepers we've had in previous years. for me, he's shown more than Dieng, and especially more than the likes of Lumley, Bettinelli, etc. He's got good goalkeeping skills. I think for me, it's, as Matt says, he's still fairly young as a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers don't tend to hit their prime until the early to mid-30s, and he's mid-20s. Even though it still feels like we've promoted a youth player, he's been around for quite a while. He's been on a few loan spells. He's worked his way up. But there's going to be things that he learns. Like a lot of other players, other than the mainstays in the team, can be in and out of the squad throughout the season. They can have a bit of a break, watch other people play, take stuff from that experience. He needs to be consistent all the way through the season, and he's going to make mistakes, especially at this age. But can you imagine the type of goalkeeper he's going to be in 10 years' time? He's probably going to be, in terms of having that experience, much, much better. So I think we are onto something with Solbrun. It's just we've got to kind of allow that he will make the occasional mistake, but he does seem to learn from it quite quickly. But yeah, no reason to doubt him.
Yeah, I will add as well. I think even taking away goalkeepers that have preceded him, I think Solbrun is a good keeper in his own right, and in isolation to that, could his shot stopping at times be improved upon? Yes. And I think that a decision he made yesterday for the Isaac Price free kick, I think it was quite obvious. Well, I'm saying that sat on my settee watching the game, but it felt to me quite obvious that Isaac Price was going to shoot to Bryn's left. He just takes half a step and puts the momentum of his body onto his right, and then it makes it difficult for him to get back over to the other side, which is where the ball ends up going. So I think a little slight error on his part there for Bryn. So there's that, and I think his shot stopping at times can be improved upon, but I really like his distribution. I really like his claiming the ball from dangerous scenarios with corners. Like them, for example, yesterday, tall players. Eric Ramsey's Minnesota side were very potent from free kicks, from set players. So the fact that we've got a goalkeeper there that I think you can depend upon in those situations is really good. So yeah, I like Bryn. I don't think he's perfect, but I think he's a pretty good goalkeeper at this level, and hopefully he can just continue to progress from here. The next question is from a guy. He asks, when everybody is fit, who are our first choice centre-halves? He says Malander and Jones. Quickly from both of you, I'll start with Tom. Who would you go for centre-back partnership?
Malander and Jones. I think it is a really easy decision there. The only thing is, at the moment, Ayling is playing there on merit, and when Jones comes back into the team, Ayling might need a rest or something. That's his way back in. But Jones would have to work hard to get back into the team at the moment, because, like I say, Ayling's there on merit. He's good for the rest of the team when he's on the pitch. So, I mean, if we're looking at it on paper and in terms of, skill-wise, who's a natural centre-back, it would be Jones and Malander. At the moment, based on form and who deserves to be there, it's Ayling and Malander.
Yeah, I'd go Malander and Jones. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I agree completely. I think naturally it will take Jones time to get back into the team, but long-term, they'd be my two. I think, obviously, Ayling has been, again, a bit of a revelation like he was when he first came in on loan, and absolutely deserves that spot in the team. But I think long-term, yeah, Jones and Malander, I think, are a very, very good centre-back partnership.
Final question is then from Missy. They ask, we are actually going up, aren't we? And I'm going to use this question to ask you guys about the promotion picture and Boro's prospects from now until the end of the season. Do you think Boro will end, where do you think Boro will end in the season in May? That didn't make sense. Where do you think Boro will finish in May?
I'm not saying anything. I'm not going to anger the football gods by making a prediction at this point.
You cop out. You shithouse.
I think it was mentioned earlier on. We were, Matt was saying we'll see where we are after X amount of games. It does get to the point where you're like, we'll see where we are at the end of this month, and we've been consistently here. So possibly at least high in the playoffs, but for me, it's a little bit too close to call at the moment. There's still so much that can happen. between now and the end of the season. We've still got half the January transfer window to go. Anything can happen there. Might re-sign Iheanacho. Hopefully not, but it could happen.
God.
Good grief. Why would you wish that upon us, God?
This is so the football gods know that I'm taking the piss here, but anything can happen there. Coventry are on a bit of a blip at the moment. That could continue. That could end today. Ipswich could go on a bit of a blip. We could go on a bit of a blip. Who knows? We've got 5 tough games coming up, and I think, as you were saying, Matt, I just want to see where we are at the end of this 5 games.
Well, how are we feeling then? Like, I kind of gauge from that, Tom, that you're cautious, and I completely relate to that as well. I think with Boro, it's very much like I'm almost expecting us to just tumble down the table at some point. And I think often within that feeling, I don't give them credit for actually being in the position that we are, because we've held the top 2 position for a long time, and for the majority of the season, in fact. So massive credit to them, and maybe from that we should have more confidence than we do. But I just think that with every football fan, it's not just Boro fans, but the club that they have being in a high position in the table, it's almost a degree of too good to be true. Like there's just going to be some point where it all falls apart. But I feel pretty good about it. I think we just keep finding ways to win. We keep finding ways to be efficient. Our performances great? I don't think so. I think the first half against Southampton, I don't think we were great shakes either. We turned it on in the second half, mind, but we're finding ways to be effective, and I think that's good. And as well, that team yesterday, I saw so many people in the comments when Boro posted it on Twitter saying, how the hell are we second with this team? But just goes to show that Hellberg can get a tune out of players that, as I said previously, are peripheral players that we didn't expect to even be at this club come the end of the summer window, at the end of January. Like, some of them might actually not be here come the end of January, but we're just finding ways to win games and to pat points on our tally. So I feel good, but I do echo that caution. I said a couple of podcasts ago, see where we are at the end of the month. We're midway through the month. We're nearly approaching the end of it. Even then, I'll probably find a way to say, we'll see how we are in February and where we are. But I feel pretty good about it. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, no, it's hard not to. I mean, as I say, we've stayed in the top 2 for however long now. That's got to mean something. That's got to count for something. As I say, that January is huge. We saw last season how a bad January completely curtailed our season completely. So it is really important we get to the end of January and we keep our best players, which I think we will, but we need to strengthen in a lot of areas. We need a centre forward, because essentially we weren't playing with one yesterday, let's be honest. Conway was on the left for the majority of the game. Yeah. So we need a centre forward. I'll be very interested to see what Hellberg does when Strelets and McGree are fit. Do we go back to the 4-2-2-2? What do we do when we have a full strength squad, if we ever do? But yeah, there's a lot of variables and a lot of time for things to change. But I think the simplest way I can put it is, if it wasn't for Ipswich, I'd be very confident that we could get top 2. Because outside of Ipswich, I know Watford are coming good, but I have not seen enough from anyone else to be worried about top 2 other than Ipswich and Coventry. And I do believe in my heart of hearts it'll be a 3-horse race. My head tells me we will be on the wrong end of that 3-horse race, because Coventry have, I think at their best, are just unbelievably good. And I think Ipswich have just got so much room to still get better. But I don't think it's too wild of a take, to be honest, to suggest that of the teams that I think we are more likely to catch, I think it could be Coventry, genuinely. I think of the 2 that we might catch, maybe Ipswich will just go on an unassailable run that no one can really stop. Maybe, as much as I would love it as a story for us and Cov to go up together, maybe they're the team we have to start eyeing up. Maybe we just have to, and I know it's maybe a bit naive and silly to just expect Ipswich to click and come from how far back are they now? 5 points back, is it, with 2 games in hand? It's still got to win them 2 games, but yeah, maybe it is daft to just assume they're going to rally ahead of both of us and win the league. But I honestly think catch Coventry. Maybe they're the team we have to overthrow for top 2, and that game in February now feels even bigger, doesn't it? So yeah, my head still says we'll finish 3rd, but my heart honestly thinks we've been there for long enough at the minute. Why not just go all the way and maybe Ipswich win the league and we finish second. I don't know. But I do think we'll be in with a chance. And if you'd have told me that in August, I would never have believed you.
Yeah, echo that. I think it'll be a 3-horse race. I think the top 3 will be Ipswich, Boro and Coventry. Not particularly in that order, although that would be nice, wouldn't it, to go up automatically. But those 3 teams will be the top 3 this season, I think. But there will be twists and turns. Maybe you'll see a Watford or a Millwall, maybe even get into that top 2 for a time. There's going to be many, many different narratives driven through the rest of this season, and I just hope that we can keep up there. And yeah, maybe the aim is to try to aim for Coventry, because they've gone from 13 points ahead of us, I think it was at a point, to 3, and granted they play in a couple of minutes, but yeah, let it be our aim. Let it be our aim to get them, and hopefully we can do that. But we will wrap up for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like, a comment, give us a 5-star rating on your podcast providers. We also have a link in the description for our Buy Me a Coffee if you'd like to buy us a chips and curry and support the pod financially. If you want to listen to the Boro Breakdown podcast, make sure to subscribe as well. It's been brilliant to see our subscribers jump up over the last month or so. But that was all for this West Brom review. Take care and up the Boro Breakdown.